So I've been watching the Twilight Saga for the last couple of days. Today I had watched about 3 of them while doing some task around the space, blah, blah, blah. And the one thing that I got out of this the most, and forgive me, it's 1:30 in the morning, was this. We are coming into a time where, and I know many of the chosen have heard this, felt this, intuitively noticed this, that there are going to be species coming online that's going to freak us out. It's inevitable. This movie, The Twilight, is old. Over 10 years old. And we're going to start witnessing some things that don't make sense to human consciousness. But, I believe in the Galactic Federation. And anyone who knows that it's a board, kind of like a board of directors, but of the galaxies and universes aligned. We know that we are here on planet Earth school, love school, however you want to describe it, but we are here on this planet. And if you ever look up a complete map, that barrier, that boundary, and don't forget to place boundaries on people, places, and things, but that boundary, that ice wall, is a boundary separating us from other worlds. Think about Thor, the homie Thor. He was from Asgard. And he allegedly traveled through the galaxies to get there, right? Maybe he just traveled through the ocean. It's still dark there, but it was still a portal. He had to go through a portal to get there. I don't think this is any different. So thinking about Twilight, I'm watching the show, the Breaking Dawn 2. I believe it was the final Twilight, where Renesmee is now born, Bella is a newborn, Edward is still underestimating his wife and finally come to his damn senses, like, yo, she's really that girl, this is who I married. And then you got Jacob imprinted on Renesmee, and now this is her protector. And because he was her protector, he was like, I have to expose myself to Charlie, Bella's dad, in order for Bella, Renesmee, and Edward to stay in Forks. So he didn't have to uproot his life. Nobody had to uproot their life. But they knew that a member of the board of directors in his own coven would come for this little girl, all because somebody was snitching. Ain't that something? So she thought that the child Renesmee was going to be immortal. And there were already some folk tales about immortal children. But Renesmee ends up being half human, half immortal. So at some age, she stops growing and she can live on just like vampires. Nadia, what are you saying here? Well, because she was half human, half immortal, and that was something that was unheard of, they had to convince other people that she was human in order for them to convince the Volturi that she was half human, half immortal. So what I'm saying is there's going to be people coming online who look human, who are going to be half human, like how I'm half Martian. Do you know what I mean? I'm all Martian. Let's not talk about half, because, babe, we elevated on this side of the tracks. I'm clearly like an oracle, earth angel, fairy, blah, blah, blah. But a lot of people are going to start coming online, and a lot of people are not afraid to show you their spiritual gifts. A lot of people are going to talk about what types of powers they have, because in this movie, when they were being convinced of Renesmee's powers, everybody started displaying what their powers were, so that if they did go to war with the Volturi, then they knew that everybody possessed a certain type of spiritual gift or a certain type of power. So you hear us say all the time that this is a spiritual battle and not a physical battle. We really mean that, because if these are indeed spiritual gifts, that means that everybody has something. It's just a matter of if you know how to tap into that and project it outward, as they were teaching Bella how to be a shield. Feel it. Feel it all throughout your body, from your head to your toe. And then project it forward, outward, outside of you, so that you can, in fact, now utilize your gift on a massive scale. So what do you do to enhance your gifts? I think one of the things that I do is, when I started learning how to meditate, I was almost like I was Bella. She was super strong, didn't know how to control her true powers once she was turned from human to newborn vampire. And, when your spiritual gifts start coming online, I think it was, when I was meditating, I was able to see things that I still can't see to this very day. And I don't even know how. I can't go back there. But I know for a fact that the visions that I saw, I still can see them, but I just can't meditate to get there, if that makes sense. But the fact was, I was able to see maybe my first life, or wherever my soul was created. And it was a grassy land, high grass, tall grass, almost like what wheat would look like in a field. And then last night, my dream state was so freaky. It was almost as if I was remembering things that I didn't ever remember, but now in my dream state. It's very unsettling, and I wish I took notes. But there were just things that I noticed and envisioned, and just odd. And again, those are spiritual gifts. I used to always want to be telepathic, and I used to always say that. They used to ask me in school, 2nd, 3rd grade, if you had a gift like superheroes do, what would you want to be? And I would be like, telepathic. And I'm like, bro, I think I was saying that shit because I am that. Like, it's ridiculous. I remember a lot of things, and listening to something earlier today while cleaning, it was like, what age did you come into consciousness? And I don't mean consciousness as an adult, as a Black American. When we say Black consciousness, a conscious community, that type of thing. That's not what I'm talking about here. What I'm talking about is, what age was your first memory? Do you remember things that happened when you were 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8? What age do you remember first? I remember things at 2 when I look at photos. And I remember, things and situations and places where we were. And I remember I was telling my mom that. She's like, there's no way that you would remember that. And I'm like, I was there. How could I not remember? She's like, but you were a kid, like a toddler. You were 2. How do you remember that? Because I had consciousness. I remember things that happened at 4, with my grandmother. I remember I had a yellow Big Bird and I wanted it, and I was upset because they gave it to this baby in a stroller, and the baby put the freaking Big Bird in its mouth and bit the freaking eye off. Today I know that we could have sued they asses and that baby could have choked on that eyeball. So of course, my grandmother comes in and I'm like lying on the couch and I'm like, the baby ate the eye. This sounds so weird saying this out loud, gosh. Sure enough, my grandmother looked at me and took the eyeball out of the baby's mouth and gave me the doll. I never let go of that doll until my mother hid it from me. I don't know what happened till we moved from the projects to a house, apartment type of thing where my aunt and her husband lived before they bought a house. And I promise you, I know for a fact somebody just threw that shit out when we moved and it crushed me. And they pretended like they didn't know where it was, and I was in PAO, latchkey kid, on Staten Island, and I had one of Snuggles, and that became my substitute. I remember being 11 years old and was sleeping with teddy bears. Even when I met my long-term ex, he was like, this is a fucking kid. How do you sleep with teddy bears? I'm like, it comforts me. And I never realized that I was probably in turn really a kid in an adult body at 26 years old. I didn't realize that even when I was engaged at 25, I was probably still a kid. Mentally, I never understood a lot of my boyfriends, even my ex-fiance, they taught me how to be a woman in many ways. And I was going through an old phone yesterday, and I was reading text messages, just screenshots. I went through I had 16,000 screenshots in that old iPhone, and I was looking for one freaking screenshot, and I couldn't find it. And it made me upset because I was really hoping to do so, and it was basically about this law that was passed that allowed us to pay all of the subscriptions separate. And that was probably before the pandemic. It was between 2018 and 2020. But I went through this screenshot list of that period of time and found text messages from my ex that basically said like he liked who I had become. I was vibrant, my skin was healthy, this, that, and the third. And then when I got back with him, I lost all of that. And reading that today, my first initial thought was, nigga, clearly you were the problem. Because anytime somebody receive a glow up when you're no longer in their life, The problem was you. And then as soon as I came back, the life force was again sucked out of me. So of course I'm going to go back to a place that I was, and probably worse, before we had separated. Do you understand? What does this have to do with the Volturi? I'm not sure. I just felt like it was worth mentioning. Because just maybe some people really are shapeshifters. We call them narcissists, but maybe they're fucking just vampires. Because they know how to suck the life force out of people. Maybe they are half human, half vampire. Shit. What did I just say? Lord Clarity, man. That was powerful. That shit had my heart racing. Sometimes I'll be freaking myself out. I ain't even gonna hold you. Wow. I don't know. You know, I was on the CIA's website the other day, just looking up their released documents of cases, and that was on Monday, actually. Excuse me, I have to get off of this soon. My eyes are tearing. I had a really long day, and I have a long day tomorrow. But man, I just freaked myself out with that thought. I don't know who we are, you know. The more I think about it, the more I think about, you know, what's on the other side of the Arctic wall. Knowing that I now have names of these other places that are on planet Earth, other dimensions and realms. I low-key want to look up what those people look like, because maybe the Galactic Federation meets at the ice wall. Who the fuck knows? You know, we know that other places exist. Maybe we really did do a timeline jump. You know, they call it the Mandela effect. I know something's different, because just too many things are different. And I really want to know if it was during the pandemic. Like, a lot of things happened during that time. I think when the 400-year curse was broken, there was a switch and a flip. And I don't know if that was the whole purpose of daylight savings time. They know that a certain portion of the world is asleep during certain times. And there is a time when it is almost equal. I remember flying from DC to Dubai last February, and it was so magnificent because Emirates is the best airline in the world. I don't care what anybody says. But when you sat at your seat, they have a map for you to view. And the map showed the time zones, continents, major cities. And I'm going to see if I could put up a video for y'all here. Not a video, but you know what I mean. And you could see where the night and the day separated. So it was a 12-hour flight going and 15 hours coming back because of that war that was going on. And I promise you, looking at the map when we were getting to like that, I call it the bottom line, where it's like a horizon, like a twilight, like it's not nighttime, but it's not daytime. We would say the sun is setting, but it was a distinct draw in the map. So therefore, the outward elements had to reflect that. So looking outside and seeing it go from pure daylight to pure night, I wonder what it's like to live on that line. Another time, on the ride home, I was already jet lagged before I got on the plane. It was funny. But just realizing that the air quality on the airplane changed. And I was like, it feels colder. I don't know how to explain it. So I opened my window and we were on top of some of the snowiest mountains with probably a damn snowstorm at the same time. And I have video of that and I was just like, oh my goodness. For some time I just spent minutes staring at it on my own, and then I took out my phone and started recording a video. And I'm like, man, this is exciting. Like, I'm just so in awe of Mother Earth. It's just insane. It's just insane because if all of these magnificent natural things exist, then why couldn't there be dual beings, half human, half whatever? And I just feel like I'm a light worker. I don't know what I would be classified as, but I know I'm telepathic. I know that I can dream things and they come true. I know that I could use my words and they come true. I know that I'm getting more gifts that I cannot explain just yet. But I've asked for these gifts. I was always told that if you can't handle them, then ask for them to be turned off. And when you're ready for them, ask for them to be turned back on. But one thing I always did was pray for preparedness to be able to handle what I'm asking for. And that means anything, any capacity. It doesn't matter what I'm asking for. I have to be prepared for what I'm asking for. You need to be prepared for what you're requesting from the Most High or from the ethers. And then sustainability, to be a person who knows how to multiply and then do division. You see, because we could be asking for X dollars, but you may want the preparation and the skills to know how to multiply that dollar amount to be more. And then you want to start dividing it up amongst maybe accounts, maybe it's businesses, maybe it's stocks, maybe it's insurance policies, maybe it's to protect your children. Whatever it is, you need to learn how to multiply first, right? So you need to ask for that preparedness and for that diligence on how to be able to handle that, so that when it does come, you don't fuck it off. People are mad at me to this very day because I've predicted things and they came true. Y'all have to start respecting people with spiritual gifts, because if we are going into a spiritual battle, and if our spiritual gifts are going to start coming online, your physicality is not going to matter. It's only the spiritual gifts that do. So figure out what you want to do. You have to pick a side. It's no more lukewarm energy. You either in or you out. You either with the shit or you not. You either want to operate in a physical realm or a spiritual realm. Either you're about that life or you not. Either you're going to stay safe or stay dangerous. You gotta pick and choose. I'm probably going to fall asleep in 3 seconds, so Peace.